Recording it, right?
Sir?
You are recording, no?
Yes.
Right.
So as we used to do in the last class, so today also we are taking a similar approach. So thereby we'll first discuss the issues that you have on the video recording of the model design principles 2. So there we have discussed the other model development principle. In the first one, we managed to discuss the 3 model design principles. So the rest we discussed in the video recordings that we have uploaded in the last class. So now we would like to hear from you. What are the questions that you had came across? So while you are listening,
You can share that few slides, no? Screen sharing. You can share the slide which we need to discuss today. Then if they have questions, they can ask, no?
Yeah, sure. So let me share the slides as well, sir. Right. So we would like to hear from you. So what are the issues that you had come across? So we would like to have a kind of feedback from you. Right. So this is the material but is relevant for the today's discussion. So in the previous class, we have taken into discussion the first 4 principles of model development. So therefore, in the today's class, we'll be focusing much on the 5th, 6th, and the 7th model design principles. So that is basically about the layout, auditing spreadsheet, auditing aspects, and also how to protect the model that you have developed. So those are the aspects what we had discussed in the lecture recording. Yes, there's a question that can we protect a specific area in an Excel sheet? Yes, in fact, so we can protect a particular area. So when we'll be going through the class activities, so we'll discuss about this particular aspect. So if you want to specifically protect a particular area, yes, it is possible. So we'll attempt this. So while we are discussing about the class activities. So likewise, we would like to hear from you. So in the video recording, we have discussed about 3 types of block models basically. So in fact, our class activity is based on that as well. So in the first one, we discuss about all the blocks is stored in a particular worksheet. So when you take Excel workbook, in a particular worksheet, you store all the blocks. Blocks in the sense, the components or the elements. The input, the output, even if required the documentation, everything is stored in a single worksheet. So that was the first layout that we discussed. We call it rectangular layout. And then we have discussed about the second type of layout. It is basically, so we'll be using different worksheets for different blocks. For example, for input, we'll be using one worksheet. For documentation, another. For the output, or we call it the report, so that is in another worksheet. So that's what the second type of layout what we had discussed. And when comes the third one, so that is the most, we would say that the comprehensive level. In this level, so we store each block in a separate workbook. For example, to store inputs, we are using one workbook. For outputs or report, another, likewise. So our class activities are mainly directed on this. So therefore we can have, in fact, you would have tried that. So then you can have more understanding on that.
Now, Vashansa, if you add something regarding this layout, now the most advantage item is the third one, whereby we know that the user can see from where the data is processing, and the data entry operator cannot see where the answer is going to generate. So that is the beauty of the workbooks, right? So when you create the inputs in one workbook, that the person who is entering the data, they can just type the information into that particular workbook, and the person who is looking at the report definitely knowing from where the data is transferred, but the people who are entering the data not knowing where this information is going. So that's why it is advantages for the managers, whereby they you can see the reports and also the source where the data is coming from. But the data entry operator cannot see anything.
So that is the most comprehensive level. So as Kalamsa had explained. So this would be the case in most of the time. So the employees, or we would say that the lower level employees, they would be working so in a particular sheet, but only the supervisor or the manager can leave the output. So that is how it works in a practical setting. So then the documentation. So this is also another important aspect, especially if the model is used by a person other than the developer. So in that particular case, the documentation is pretty much required. So how to operate the model. So the instruction must be provided as to how to operate the model that has been developed. Then the sixth principle, we discuss about the auditing aspects. So once you develop a model, so you need to ensure that the model will meet the needs of the end user. So in that, you should make sure the model what you had developed is error-free. So in that sense, so you have to look, the logical relationships is there, the consistency is there, and it is error-free. So therefore, how you are to ensure the model is accurate, that is by using the auditing spreadsheet tools. So there we have discussed about 5 or 6, so there we have 6 tools available: the trace precedence, the trace dependence, the error checking. So all these things we have comprehensively discussed during the video recording. So this is something which is available once you develop a model. So you need to make sure that it is error free. And finally, we have discussed about the protection of the model what you had developed. In that, we learned 3 types of protection. The first one is how to protect a worksheet. How to protect a worksheet. And also I discussed about the instances where the protecting the worksheet may come in handy. So earlier you learned about 3 types of layouts: the rectangular one, the different worksheets, and the different workbooks. In that, this may come handy. So if you are using the second type of layout, in that you are using different worksheets for different blocks. So if you want to protect the output or the report, then you can protect the worksheet where the output is there. So therefore, the protection of worksheet may come in handy in situations where you have developed the model where you stored the different blocks in different worksheets. Then we discuss about protecting the answer model only. So in that particular case, you want to protect the output or the report basically. So in that, you want to allow the user to operate only in the input area. So therefore, you may allow a particular area that is to be accessed by a particular user, the user of the model, and the rest of the areas, you may restrict the access. So in that particular case, so if you refer that to the layout models, so it may come handy in rectangular format, where you have stored every block in a single sheet. So in that, you can allow only the input area to be operated while the rest of the areas are protected. The third instance, it is about protecting the workbook. So again, if you refer that to the different layouts, so if you had stored the blocks in different workbooks, in that particular instance, you may have to protect the workbook, especially the output. So in that particular case, you can protect the workbook. So these are the three levels of protection what we had learned, and also we have referred that to the situations where that it may come handy. So that is basically what we had discussed so during the last lecture. Now it's time for you to get the things clarified. So if you have anything to get clarified. Yes, this session is to get the issues clarified basically. So therefore make the best use out of this, right? So you would be having confusion. There can be some confusions, or there can be the new things that you need to know. So whatever it is, yes, you may bring them to the discussion, then we can discuss. Yes, there's a question that is it necessary to apply documentation area for all the layout? Yes, again, the main thing is who is going to use the model. If the model is developed, if the model is used by the developer itself, then we find the need for documentation would be less. So if you are using the model what you have developed, then you know how to operate that. So therefore, we believe the documentation is not that much required. But documentation is pretty much required if the model what you have developed is used by somebody other than you. So if you had developed a model for a third party, then probably in that particular case, the documentation is pretty much required.
And also, I think, sir, when you are using this range name commands for the various formulas, then you have to give the abbreviations, and also you have to give the explanation regarding those abbreviations. So in that case, the documentation is very much important.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when
Yes.
they use this kind of small abbreviation for the naming different ranges.
Yeah.
So that should be given the full details about those ranges.
Yes, here we identify the possible content of the spreadsheet
Mm.
model design. So as Callum sir had mentioned that when it comes to the models, there you may make use of different range names. So therefore, it would be ideal. So if you can keep some record on that, even if it is used by the same person that develops a model, so it would be of use. So if it is used by somebody other than you, so it is pretty much required. Even if it is used by the developer self, so better to have a note on, better to have a kind of documentation, especially when it comes to this range name. And again, the instructions, so that is pretty much needed. If it is used by a third party, so you would have to give the instruction as to how to operate the model, and also the backup procedures, the disaster recovery. So these are quite important.
So
And
there's a
also,
question. Can you see that question? Student is posted
yeah,
one question.
yeah, Bill says it. When we prepare the model in separate workbooks, can that be updated online? Prepare the model in separate workbooks, can that be updated online? That means if the input work is with the particular using one computer and the output is separate in the computer, can the output workbook be updated when
So that is sharing. That
yeah.
they need to share the workbook in that case. Otherwise, cannot be updated.
Mm.
So what he is asking, I think, if the two persons are working in two different computers with the
Yeah.
network environment,
Yeah.
whether this input and output can share. So
Yeah.
that then you have to give the sharing option
Mm.
for the other person. Otherwise, you cannot update that.
Mm.
And simultaneously, you may be working with the same workbook and typing the same thing in the same location. That there can be some confusions happening in that situation. But, but in the case if you are using one computer and having the two workbook, always when the inputs are updated, automatically when you are opening the next time the output, it will ask you to update and get the updated version. So there will be message appearing in your screen where you need to click to update, get the updations.
Yeah. Right. Good. So likewise, we would like to bring more concerns. So then, so it will enlighten the whole class. So better bring your concerns. Good.
Then shall we move on to the answer layout and the question what we have given to them
Yes.
and
Yes.
discuss
Sure.
that. And
Yeah.
meantime, we will cover all these things what they are asking
Yeah.
by using that answer.
Yeah. Sure. Sir. Sure. Right. So as we used to do in the last class, again we would like so some of the volunteers come first and share their answers first. So let's take on the first activity. So yeah, you have a
Can you
question.
share the question, Roshan sir, first?
Yes.
Then everyone can see the question
Yeah.
first, what we are going to discuss.
Right. So here we have the class activities. So there you are given one question, and it is expected you to put them in three different layouts. The layouts what we had learned, and also to protect the model under different circumstances. So that was the expectation. So let's start with the first layout where each block is stored on a single worksheet. So in fact, that is the rectangular format, right?
There's a very good question asking, sir.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, if yeah.
You want forget the password after protecting the workbook. Is there any method of unlock the workbook? I don't think we can see that workbook again, because if you don't know the password, are there any are there any method whereby you can get the workbook unlocked if you forget the password?
No, sir.
No,
No.
there can be different ways, that, but they can be unethical. I believe that. So some form of hacking or something. Sometimes it may be possible to break those protection, but it may be beyond our discussion. Right. So I believe that I need to come out from the screen sharing. Otherwise, other can't share that. So therefore, let me comes out. So let's see, one volunteer would share the answer. Now you can share your answer for the first one.
Single sheet layout, no?
Yeah,
Where
single
you got
sheet.
the input and output both in one particular worksheet.
Yeah.
Can anyone share your answer, please? Then we can discuss that, how you created and what are the problems you faced in that particular model development, and what is the suitable way of protecting that particular module.
Yes. So here we have it. Right. So you have more importantly identified the input first. So good. Then you have take on the output area. Uh, yes. Can you take us little bit down? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Take that sales, cost of sales, gross profit. Yeah. So it is perfect, but we wonder why you have taken this demand, selling price, and cost information over here. So it is something that is need not. So even we have discussed this particular aspect in the last class. We better not bring those aspects. So since
Can,
you,
can you highlight the one answer, Roshan sir? Can you highlight one cell,
yeah,
then we can see his formula?
yeah,
Then what is the purpose of having that part, we can discuss with him.
yeah,
So
sure.
he can
Sales,
highlight, yeah,
the
the
sales
one
divided by
calculation.
demand.
Go to the 2022 sales, the sales of 2022. So it's basically E9R. That's why you have taken directly this from this particular. This is also like a database, Kuta, in that case, because you have taken the original information first. Then after that, you have taken that into another table whereby you have make the calculation here. Then you are transferring that into the output. So that means you take extra effort
Yeah.
to create this part. So that's why you have basic formulas. But otherwise, you need to go by applying the conditions given in the table into the final calculations. So then it's easily you can generate. You don't have to go this long output area, or this is also like input area. Although it is output, it is input, because that input is taken for your answer now, no?
Yeah.
So that is the E18 multiplied by E19. E18 is this demand.
Yeah.
What you calculated for 22, you multiplied it by the selling price.
Yeah.
So it's extra effort.
Yeah.
Why should use like that? Last week also we have shown you the formula 1 plus formula which you
You
can
would have
apply.
incorporated that the growth rates
Yes,
have
growth rate.
incorporated, and you could have taken that straight away to this
Can,
sales figure.
uh, again, Roshan sir, can we also share that formula to him, and then
Yeah.
we can again think about that?
Yeah, sure.
Good
So
effort.
here you are
The answers
perfectly
are
done.
correct.
Yeah,
No problem. Answers are correct, but
correct. Yeah.
yes.
So one simple improvement. So appreciate your effort. So one simple improvements, right?
So we
Okay.
will show how to
Yeah.
get that figure to him again.
Yeah,
Then
sure.
he can get idea.
Right. So you have to, Prashana, can you please uh, stop share? Then I can share this, right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. So this was the expectation. So we have identified the inputs as you did. And when come to the output, we are not going to take the sales price and the demand separately. Instead, we can incorporate everything here. So when come to sales in 2021, you are given the figures for 2020. And the forecast is required for 2021 to 2025. So that was the requirement. So therefore, you can simply start with a 2020 situation. So that is in the sense, if you are talking about sales, you can take the sales price and the demand. So first I have taken that, the B2 multiplied by B5. So that was the situation for 2020. But behind 2021, the question requires to start from 2021. So therefore, there I have brought the growth, the annual growth in the selling price. So that is, I have taken that the first 2021 sales multiplied by the 1 plus the expected sales price growth, and it is multiplied by the demand growth as well.
Yes.
Demand growth as well. So therefore, I have incorporated the both. So that's how I have generated the January sales.
මම හිතන්නේ පුතාට තේරෙන්නේ නැති කියලානේ. ඒ උත්තරේ ගත්ත විදිහ අපි දීලා තියෙන 2020 data ටිකක් ඔයගලන්ට generate කරන්න කියලා තියෙන්නේ 2021 ඉඳලා projection එකක්. So the 2020 sale එක ඉස්සලා අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ growth rate එකෙන් demand growth rate එකයි price growth rate එකෙන් ඒක වැඩි වෙන්නේ. So that's why we have taken 1 plus command make that percentage එක 8 108 වලින් තමයි වැඩි කරලා ගන්න. ඒතකොට කෙලින්ම add වෙලා එනවා. So that's what happened with the 1 plus command.
Right. Okay, good.
Then Roshan, you can share the other formulas as well.
Yeah, so let's see 2020.
It will be recorded and they can later read it and get that idea. That is for the second year. Then after that, we can drag this.
Yeah, drag that.
The two
So you
formulas.
start with the 2020.
Can you color these two formula areas? Then they can keep mind. Two formulas need to be developed for this particular section. Like a disable color thing.
Well, because I have protected that. Let me.
No problem.
Yeah, let's keep that for a while. So yeah, so that's how I get. And similar approach applied when it comes to the cost of sales. The same 2020 cost of sales, and incorporated the two growth rate, the demand growth and the cost growth. So there we have incorporated and taken.
In that case, Roshan, you got the same answer, no?
Yeah.
So, because the cost sale, no growth rates there.
Let me see, sir.
You got the same values, no?
Expected demand cost growth is there something?
Gone wrong.
Seems. Yeah. So
because now our cost calculation, basically the first year cost from the cost per unit is 3,800 per unit, no?
Yeah, let me.
That into the number of units. Then double click current question.
So protection. Let me unlock.
Okay, so here.
Right. What has gone wrong? I couldn't refer here.
Yeah, I got Varhan done.
So I should have simply taken the previous one and taken the multiplication. Yeah. Now I think it's okay. So I can now simply drag this. So when come to 2022, like we did in the case of sales, you can start with the cost of sales of the 2021, then get them multiplied by the growth rate. So I have incorporated the growth rate, then they are generated. So in fact, I have missed that. So now I believe it is fine.
Again, show me the first one answer, Roshan sir.
Yeah.
Please
get
B4 is your cost, cost per unit, and B5 is the demand.
So that is in fact 2020 figure. So then
and then the growth rate, two growth rates are applied.
Applied, yeah. Expected growth. Yeah. Then come to 2022. So you can start with 2021 figure.
Yes.
And get them multiplied.
And apply the growth rate.
Yeah.
So there will be now, at the moment, we have developed four formulas altogether.
Yeah.
Sales 2 and the cost of sales 2. Then the gross profit internal, one single formula.
Yeah.
difference calculation.
We can take the
This
simple
will be
summation and we can simply drag it.
drag it in
Operating
here.
expenses does not
It's a
change.
fixed, again, one formula, no? It's a fixed value, right?
Yeah, it's a fixed value. You have to simply drag them over the.
Yes.
Then the depreciation, there you have to do a kind of computation.
Mm.
So in that, you are given information on cost, scrap value, and the useful life.
Mm.
So then you can do the depreciation. So here we have taken the cost minus the scrap value divided by the useful life. That has given you the depreciation figure.
And also, if the student know the SLN method, they can use that as well, no?
Yes. So they
Straight
could have
line
made,
method, inbuilt formula for the depreciation.
yes, yeah, they could have made use of that as well even.
Yes.
Yeah. So then the profit before tax, again, you can make use of the sum formula and get that. The income tax. So the profit before tax, you could have multiplied by the corporate tax rate and thereby the profit after tax. And this is how we used to generate. Right.
I hope everyone got the idea, no? Now how to get this first one. So it means one sheet, single sheet, you got the input and output stored. Then we can ask them what is the method we can use to protect this, no?
Yeah.
Question, sir?
Yes, here we will discuss about the protection as well, sir.
Yes. Immediately, okay, that is easy for them, no?
Yeah.
Understand?
So yeah, when come to the protection, so here.
So you can ask the question from the student. One can type the answer. Which method we can use to protect this particular sheet?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Is the method number 1, method number 2, or method number 3 shown in your slideshow?
Yeah, but yeah, sure. Let me show the slides first. We have discussed about 3 instances. Yeah. So this is about the protection. So in that, which protection is applicable for this particular layout? Yes, it's going to be the method 2. Very correct. So you have to.
Second method, yeah.
Yes, good. Protect the answer model only. Right.
That will give the answer for the question which the first student forwarded. No, sir? He want to know how to protect the particular area. So
Yeah.
this is how to protect the particular area in a one single worksheet. So we will show them how to protect that.
Yeah.
Then the answer for the first question also given.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. So in that, if I just go back over here, so here basically, so you want to protect the output area. So if you want to protect, there are basically 2 approaches, I believe, sir. So one thing is we can only allow the user to operate the input area.
Yes.
And protect the rest of the sheet.
Yeah.
So let me take them through that first.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Yes. Then the whole sheet is protected except this input area.
Yes. Right. In this case, what am I basically going to do? So I'm going to only allow the user to operate in the input area. So they can only operate in the input area. The rest of the areas get protected. So in that, what I need to do, so when you are in the home tab, you have to go to this review. In that, you have an area called protection, protect. In that, there's option allow edit range. You can go to allow edit range. So in that, so once you click on that, there it comes a particular dialog box. Then you can specify what is the area that you want to allow the user to edit. So here by default we have something, in fact that is something I would have got earlier. So I delete that and this would be the window that it comes. Then I can specify what is the area that I'm going to allow the user to edit. So in that, I can click on this new, and there you can even give a name for that if needed. So let me say that input area. Then you can select the particular area. So I can select that area. Let me say the input, the whole area. Let me select the input area. Then I can say OK. Then what I need to do, now I'm going to allow the user to operate in the input area while the rest of the areas get protected. In that, you have to click on the protect sheet. Once you come back to this window, so you can click on protect sheet, and there you have to enter a particular password, right? Say OK. And again, re-enter that. Say OK. Now let's see what is the impact that we have. Let's say that the user want to change the selling price. In fact, he should be able to do that because we have allowed them to operate in the input area, right? Let's say that it is 6,000. Yes, no problem. The user can change that. And let's say that the user tries to type something in the output area. Let's see whether he's allowed. So once you select a particular, let's say that you want to manipulate the sales figure. So if you try to type something, no, you are not allowed. The protection is applied. So this is especially important in some instances. By mistake, when the users are going to operate the model, so mistakenly the things can be typed in the output area. If that happens, the whole model goes wrong. So therefore, in order to avoid such particular kind of thing, you can do something of this nature. So you can protect the rest of the areas while allowing the user to operate in a particular area. Then you know under any circumstances, the output may not get affected. So all what the user can do, he can only change the input area. So he cannot even by mistake type something. So මේ වගේ protection එක තියෙන වැදගත්කම තමයි අපි දන්නවා සමහර වෙලාවට model එක use කරන්න ගියපුවාම අපි developer තව කෙනෙක් මේක use කරනවා නම් ඒකට සමහර වෙලාවට සිද්ධ වෙනවා මේ output එකෙත් වැරදිලා දේවල් type වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට එහෙම වුණොත් අපි දන්නවා model එක එතන වැරද්දක් වෙනවා. ඒතර ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකට අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් measure එකක් තමයි අපි allow කරන්නේ මේ input area එක විතරයි. එහෙනම් අපිට තිබුණා ඕනනම් මේ කියන input values ටික විතරක් මේ area එක විතරක් open කරලා දෙන්න. ඒකට අපි දන්නවා ඕනෑම තත්ත්වයක් යටතේ user මොන විදිහට මේක භාවිතා කරන්න ගියත් කොයිම වෙලාවකවත් output එකට impact එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද input එක විතරයි change කරන්න පුළුවන්. So that is one kind of protection. So are there anything to add, Callum sir? Right. So similarly, then you ask that the question that can we restrict, if I go back to the question, let me see. So you had asked that, can we protect a specific area? So here we have protected the rest of the areas by allowing a particular area. Now the question is, can we protect a specific area? Right. Okay. Now let me remove these protections and let's try that out. Now I believe no protection is there. Now you can type on any area, right? Okay, now I have get back to the original. So it is an unprotected sheet. So in that, let's say that you want to protect a particular area. In that particular case also you have select, let's say that you want to protect the output area. Then what you may do, you may select that particular area. Then you can again take the option allow edit range. Allow edit range. In that you can say the area. So let's say it is output. The title can be given output. And the range, yes, it was selected, but again, let me select that. Then here, we can use a range password. We can use a range password. So the password can be applied for that. Then let's see what happens. Let's apply that and say, okay. Now let's try to type something. Yeah, it allows. It seems something went wrong that yeah. Now only I believe the protection is applied. Now it seems that you can't type the things. So same thing. Earlier when we are trying that, something had gone wrong. Let's see the rest of the areas that you can operate. No, that is not the case. It seems that the protection is applied for the whole sheet. So Callum sir, can you help with this?
Roshan, can you do it again? I think there might be a mistake, right? What you did was correct. Shall I try it again?
Yeah, let's see.
You can unprotect the sheet and you can try it again.
Yeah, seems that something.
Samita, you have mentioned that they can use the password removing software, right? In case they
Yes,
forget
sir.
the password,
Yeah.
they can use another software which will remove the password.
Yeah, we have to download another password removing software. Then we can remove that Excel workbook password.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So I have again get back. Callum sir, am I correct that when we are going to restrict a particular area, so we have to select that area and we have to go to this allow edit range. Is that so? And there we
Yeah,
have
now
to
when you
apply the
press that
password.
allow edit range, sir, you need to have a, you are allowing change the range details, no? Particular area you are allowing to.
Yeah, but there also we have kind of option to add the password, sir.
Yes, you can add the password. In that case, no one can detect it. But unfortunately, when you locked it again, we have to give the password. No, again second password. When it comes to the second password, the whole worksheet will get blocked. So that's why in the Excel sheet, I don't think we can have option whereby one particular cell or few cells to be protected. In that case, we have to highlight the rest of the area. Now, in a big worksheet, difficult to highlight all these areas. If you want to highlight everything outside other than this one, then you can go for editing all that area except the other one. So it is impossible in the worksheet. It's a big worksheet, no?
So therefore, the only possibility is the way that we used to do earlier, yes, sir.
Yes.
We can allow some areas.
මේගොල්ලෝ කියන මෙයා කියන විදිහට මේ එක අපි හිතමුකෝ ආන්සර් ෂීට් එකේ එක සෙල් එකක් විතරක් අපි ප්‍රොටෙක්ට් කරන්න ඕන වුණොත් සර් අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා අනිත් මේ වර්ක් ෂීට් එකේ තියෙන අනිත් ඔක්කොම ටික බ්ලොක් මේ highlight කරලා ඒව edit කරන්න ඇරලා මේක විතරක් ප්‍රොටෙක්ට් කරන්න. අර ඔයා කරපු විදිහට. allow edit range කියන එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඒක highlight කරන්න බෑ මේ කඩි වර්ක් ෂීට් එක එච්චර ලොකු ප්‍රමාණයක් highlight කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නෑ අපිට. චූටි වර්ක් ෂීට් එකක් නම් දැන් ඔයාලට highlight කරලා දැන් මේ ටික ඒ පොඩි බ්ලොක් එක ඉතුරු කරලා අපිට highlight කරන්න පුළුවන් නේ. Control key use karla. For example, various sections you can highlight. Likewise, you can highlight the various section keeping the particular section open. So then that particular section will get protected, but the other areas you can type.
Yeah.
But in a worksheet, the big kind of worksheet is very difficult.
Yeah.
Either you have to protect a whole sheet by allowing user to use the input area only, because the input area is the area where the user is going to change. Those are the variables. So the variable need to allow the user to change. So once the variable change, you can see the application happening in the model. So the model will be protected with the rest of the area.
Yeah.
Not on the particular cell. Specific area එකක් අපිට highlight කරලා protect කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ අර worksheet එක ලොකු නිසා.
Yes. So
Cell එක highlight කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා අපිට ඕන control key එක press කරගෙන එහෙම කරන්න ගියොත් මේ මුළු worksheet එකේම මේ පොඩි block එක ඉතුරු කරලා අනිත් ඔක්කොම highlight කරන්න වෙනවා.
Yes.
Highlight කරලා තමයි protect කරන්න ඕනේ. Then we can keep that particular cell open.
Yeah.
Either particular area protected.
Yeah. So therefore, in a situation like this,
but to allow user to edit this input range.
Yeah. So you better yes. So that is what the possible application when it comes to the protection in a particular sheet. So you may allow a particular area as we did earlier, and the rest of the areas
can
be protected. Yes. So and further you can see more into that. So even you can make use of the different sources like YouTube. So you may keep searching on that and see whether there is any possibility on that. So that is something to be investigated. So at the moment, let's confine. So you can allow some area or areas to be operated by the user while the rest of the areas getting protected. So like we did. So you may go to the allow edit range. We may select that. So let's say it is input. And the reference, yes, it has already there. You can see okay, and you can protect the sheet. The rest of the areas getting protected. So that was the application what will confine. You cannot type anything the other places but in the input area. So therefore the same purpose is served but in a different way. So you are still protecting the output, but not just the output but even the rest of the areas other than the input. Right. Now let's look at the second one. So where you have developed the model using different work sheets. So again, we would like someone to volunteer and share the answer, then we may discuss. Yes, Lakshita. Thank you. So you have identified documentation area. Good. Then more importantly, the inputs you have identified. Good. So then thereby the output you have taken. In this particular case, you have even taken that 2020 as well, no? So we have asked you to start from 2021.
Everything is correct.
Correct.
Now, Lakshita, just keep the one answer highlighted, then the others can see how the data is transferred. You can see mention input B7, B8. So that goes to the separate worksheet and then taking the particular cell reference. So we can clearly see the data is transferred from the input worksheet to the output worksheet. So here the highlighter saying definitely you are going to the inputs worksheet. So that's good model. Perfect.
Yes, you have done it perfectly, except you shouldn't have taken this 2020. Other than that,
yes,
it's perfect.
Yes,
you could have straight away
develop for the future.
Yeah, 2021. And here the most important feature, as Kalum sir had mentioned, that so when you are entering that, so while you are in the inputs, you have to enter the figures. So that was a crucial aspect. So even I have mentioned that in the video. So when you are going to enter some figures, so while you are working, yes, model is perfect. So when it comes to the model development, when you are entering the values, there you need to be pretty much careful. So can you show us one figure, sir?
Lakshita can show that. Lakshita can show how the data is transferred. Can you calculate one output? Go to the output and recalculate one output.
Yeah.
Yeah, first one, just calculate the first one. Again, erase that and calculate. First one, output. Go to the output sheet and erase the first answer and recalculate that.
You have applied protection. Okay.
So the sheet is protected. I think I
Yeah,
unlock.
you may unprotect
You can
that.
unprotect. Yes, you can unprotect by giving your password. Yes. Right. Delete the first one. Delete the first one and recalculate. Then others can see how the calculation is made. Yeah. Good. Yes. Then you have to go back to the input cell and get the data. Go to the input worksheet. Click the input worksheet. Lakshita, can you go to the input sheet?
So seems that he's stuck or something.
Structure.
Seems that something wrong with the connection. Is that?
පුතා ඔයා එහෙනම් sheet එකෙන් එළියට යන්න අපි පෙන්නන්න. So
Yeah,
we can see.
sure.
You can exit from the screen sharing.
It seems that he's having some difficulty.
සැක පුලන්ද තිරින් නොකරන්න.
So no, sir. So we need to get out from this stream. I think. Yeah. Stop participant sharing. Yeah. So I could. Right. Yes. Seems that the Lakshita is having some difficulty. So let me show that. So let me open up.
සාරක අයින් කරන්න තුඩෑනේ.
මම window එක open කරගන්න මම. පුළුවන් මේ මට මෙතනින් stop. So let me open up the answer for that. The different worksheets.
You can share your answer and then show it.
Yeah, sure. Right, let me share my answer. Yes, so in fact, Lakshita has done it perfectly. Can you all see this? The screen I'm sharing. Here I have get the input in one sheet and the output in another.
Not yet, sir. We are blocking the Lakshita's screen.
It seems that it shows that I'm.
Lakshita exit කරන්න ඕනේ එතනින්.
Let me stop share.
ආන්න සමිතා පේනවද ඔයාලට?
So පේනස් වෙන්නවා.
Yeah, now fine.
All right, now you
Right,
can.
now yeah. Right. So can you all see the screen what I'm sharing? Now it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So like Lakshita did, so we have identified the input areas in one particular sheet and the output in another. So in that, the most important thing is establishing these figures. So you have to very carefully do that. So just to show you one, so let's take this sales. So when we are getting these sales, so let me delete it. And when I'm doing that, so you would take the equal sign and then you would have gone to the inputs. Then you would have gone to the inputs and you start with the selling price for 2020 and get them, make it constant and get them multiplied by the demand. So then you are getting the 2020 sales. But the question is about 2021. So you can put them within brackets and you can incorporate the growth in that. So see, here I'm working in the input one, right? So you can get 1 plus the expected selling price growth. Let me incorporate that first. Brackets, and then let me incorporate the growth in the demand. So similarly, 1 plus the demand growth. See, everything is done while I'm in the input. And most importantly, before you move on to the output, you have to press enter. So that is the crucial thing, right? You may enter that. So once you enter that, so this figure is taken, so the relationship was there, so the rest of the figures was filled. So then even let me work out 2022. So while I'm doing how I get that, so you can start with the previous year's figure and get them multiplied by the 1 plus growth rate has to be there. Expected selling price growth. Now I'm in the input, make it constant, close the brackets, and get 1 plus the demand growth.
Most important thing is not come back to the answer sheet.
Yes.
From there, you have to press the enter key to transfer the answer into the answer sheet. So if you come
Yes.
back to the answer sheet, then you will get confusions.
Yes. Once you get that, you can simply drag the rest. So here also I have done the same mistake, which I shouldn't have. When I'm getting these figures, let me correct it. So I would have referred to the previous year and then got the figures. So by the same mistake that I did in the previous case. Now it is fine. So that is the most crucial aspect. So you have to be conscious, you have to be careful when you are entering that. So when you are switching between the input and output, that is the most important thing. You have to be careful. Now let's change one figure and see whether it works. Let's make it 6,000. Yes, it is reflected. Yes.
May Roshan,
Yes, sir.
Roshan, actually, if we need alternatively, 2021 sales can be good. 2021 sales. They are 2021 sales.
Mm-hmm.
Sales is usually always P times Q.
Mm-hmm. P times Q, yeah.
P times Q,
Yeah.
price times quantity.
Yeah.
So accordingly, students who are right, we can give alternative method.
Yeah.
2021 price is the 20 price times 1 plus G.
Yeah. Let me type that as
So we can take 2020 price times 1 plus G plus.
Yeah. So let me go back to the input and let me get
That's
the
also same, right?
yeah 2020.
Otherwise,
One, then get them multiplied by the 1 plus growth, right?
1 plus price growth.
Price growth. Yes.
That is the 21 price.
21 price, yes.
Then it multiplied.
Can be
All
multiplied.
multiplied.
Yeah. The demand
Quantity.
Into
Times
yes.
1 plus G.
Yeah, demand growth, yes. So that is giving some much more comfort. Even I
That means always price times Q.
Q, yeah.
Yeah.
So by adhering to that, we can generate the same answer.
Same.
Yeah, yeah.
Rest of the years you can do the right the way we did.
Yes, even for the cost of sales, we can apply the same thing.
That is very good because students can experiment various formulas.
Yeah.
Important is to generate the answer by using the formulas at the end of the day.
Same thing.
Yeah, if we had to do this cost of sales as well, we could have done the same thing. Yes, yes, we could get the cost and get them multiplied by the growth.
Cost growth, that's in the cost times quantity.
Expected cost growth, we have get it, and get them multiplied by the quantity, the demand we have, and that should get multiplied by the growth rate. The demand growth, we have 3%. You ended up getting the same. Good. So this is, I believe that this is much more comfortable compared to what we did. So if you feel a little,
and also students can generate another formula if they want, so they can generate another formula.
Yeah. So you may try different ways, and you may get them right. Good.
So we'll
now, yeah. What about the protection? So here, so out of the different protections that you have learned, just to take you back to the. So out of these three protections, so what may come handy in this situation? Worksheet, the answer model, or the workbook? Just would like to hear from you. Yes, so very correct. So it is obviously the protecting the worksheet. Protecting the worksheet. Right. And it is quite easy compared to the first one what we did. So when you are going to protect the sheet, all what you have to do, so you, in this case, obviously you need to protect the output. Then you can go to protect sheet. So here in the redeem, the protect is there, protect sheet. Then you can simply give a password and get them. Right. So that is how we do the protection. So the no one can change unless the person who knows the password. So the others can simply work in the input but can't touch on the output. So that is the protection what we need to apply in this situation. So similarly, we would like to move on to the third instance. So it is about the different workbooks. So again, we would like someone to volunteer and then we may take. Yes, Ravindu.
Ravindu, I think you have to open the board Puta, your input workbook as well as your output workbook first.
Yeah.
Then you can first show the input workbook and then show the output workbook to the screen.
Yeah. Ravindu, we can't see this. See it.
Share it at the
Yes, sir. It seems that, so though it shows that the round Ravindu is sharing, but it is not appearing. Now let me stop. Can someone else? Yes.
workbook දෙකම open කරන් ඉන්න නැත්නම් share කරන්න අමාරුයි.
Yes.
Open the both workbook, input as well as the output workbook. Then only you have to go to the share and show the input workbook and also share the output workbook. So if the difficulties is there, sir, we can show them, no?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, here we have, so the, as far as the input is concerned, we are taking that in a separate sheet. So that's how we do. So here, in a separate workbook, we have get the inputs. So depending on the, most of the time, depending on the size of the models and the securities that is required, so this particular layout may come handy. So especially the security concerns. So when you are working in an organization, in most of the cases, the lower level employees, they would have access to this input workbook, while the supervisors and the managers, they'll be having the full access. So the lower level employees may not have access to the output. So in such particular kind of situation, if you want to split the work as such, then when you are developing the model, so this would be the layout that will do the job. So in that we have taken these inputs. So we have stored that, and the user can change the input over here. So let's change some input and let's see whether it reflects in the output. So we are familiar with the basic model. So I'm changing few figures and let's see whether
So
it
because
reflects.
we must tell them that we need to save this workbook separately. Now you have given a name code, input and save that, right? So it's in
Yeah,
a different location. It is saved in a way different place by giving the name. That,
yeah,
yes, that workbook working by the data entry operators.
yeah,
Then we can open up the output book, which the manager is using. No?
yeah. So now let me open up the
Yeah.
output. Then we can see how it gets updated. So let's see. So password required. So if I open up,
Share it, sir. We cannot see
yeah,
the screen.
yeah, let me see. So we can't share the two things. So that's,
You remove the protection and then
yeah, sir, I have removed it.
better share that.
We are trying to share that. Right. Okay. So this is the output. So here we have the output. We have changed the figures accordingly. The changes had been brought. So I have changed the sales figure. So you can see that.
වශාන්ස ඒක ඔහොමම තියාගෙන අරකට ගිහිල්ලා අනිත් එකේ ආයි data වෙනස් කරලා මේක open කරලා පෙන්නන්නේ මොකද දැන් මේකේ protection දාලා නැහැ නේද protection අයින් කරන්නේ දැන් ඊට පස්සේ open කරනකොට ඔක එනවනේ message එකක් update කරන්න කියලා
Oh,
ඒක ඒක පෙන්නන්නේ මේගොල්ලන්ට when you close this workbook and then go to the input and change the few inputs and then open up the output save කරලා ඒක save කරලා close this workbook and come to this workbook.
Yeah, and now I want to close this first, right?
Yes. Then you go to the input workbook, do some changes, then close the save and close that.
Yeah.
Then you open up your output.
Yeah, let me go to this input. Let me first remove this kind of output.
Share the input workbook first.
Yeah, so,
then do the modification.
Yeah, I'm removing this protection thing. Yeah, it is still there. So seeing something is wrong with this.
You remove all the protections password.
Yes, that I'm trying to do that, but it is not getting.
Input worksheet share කරන්න බැද්ද?
Output එක sir මම මේ protection එක අයින් කරන්න හදන්නේ.
අයින් කරලා ඒක වෙනම save කරලා දාන්නකො save කරලා close කරන්න window එක. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාගේ share කරන්න input එක විතර.
Yes, right, sir. Right. Now I will. That is trying to get something. Right, now fine. Output is okay. Now let me go to this input. Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah, here we have the input.
Yeah.
So let me change some figures in the input. So especially let's say that the tax rate.
ඒකයි fixed cost එක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ.
Yes. So let's say tax rate is like 40% and operating expenses, let me change it like 2 million.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Now let me save this and close it. And now let's open up the output and see how it is going to reflect.
So screen එක share කරගෙන මම ඉන්නේ desktop එක. එතකොට අපිට පේනවනේ
Right.
ඒ එන messages desktop එක share කරන්න හරි.
Right. Okay.
All right. Yes. Okay.
Yes. So
So
this
when
is,
you open up, the message will appear.
yes. Then it asks that you want to update this.
Yes. If you
Then
say
you can say,
don't, that is not going to update.
yes.
If you say update only, that will change the values.
Yes. Once the manager or the supervisor open this one, so he can.
Because manager going to know now, there are certain updation happen in the input area. So
Yes.
that's why you need to click the update button. Then only you can see now the operating expenses are gone down to 2 million
2
rupees.
million. Yeah. So it
The
gets
tax applications happen.
Yes.
Yes.
So he can decide, yes, if some update is there in the input, so he would get to know that, because the message appears once he open the output one. You want to update the situation or not.
And also, sir, show me one of the cells where the formulas are created within this output area.
Yeah.
So there you can see how the transactions is happen now. So you can see where the location, the place where that particular input workbook is saved.
Yeah.
So the whole path is showing. So that can be seen by the manager.
Yes,
From where the data is transferred.
Yeah, in the desktop, the input area is there. So everything is there. So when you are working in these two separate workbooks, you have to make sure that the proper link is established. That is the most important thing.
And also both workbooks need to keep on in your screen
while you're working. Yeah.
Yes. So this is the most complicated structure of developing the models.
Models, yes.
Yeah.
The most comprehensive one as well. So here, when it comes to the protection, so obviously,
yes,
you have to protect the workbook. Yeah, in that you can go to this file, and you can take this protect workbook. In that you can encrypt it with a password. So you can simply give a password for that, then you can open it up. Right. So that is the protection. Now it is applied. You can save it. You can close it once you are going to open it. So it appears the password is required to open this. If I share the desktop, I believe you can appear that message. The message will appear. Just want to show that yes, this is the message, but get appear. So your output. So can it be seen?
Yeah, we can see. Double click, sir. Output.
Yeah,
we can see your screen.
Right. Okay. Right. Fine. Yeah. This is it. So it is protected output. Now it's fine, right, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you can see that the workbook cannot be opened. So you can simply give the password and you can open it up. So that is how we do. So if you want to remove that, you can again go to file protect, encrypt. You can simply remove that. So if you do not want the protection, and that's how the protection is carried out. Right. That is the expectation for the today's class. So in the next class, we are going to discuss another important area. It is about the model development, the important tools used in the Excel. So right after the today's session, we are going to upload it. So we are going to make them available to you. You can go through the video recording and all the class activities, and also the lecture materials are there. And also, if you can remember, in the course outline, we have agreed that we have certain class activities where it would be count for your marks. So as per the course outline, we have to have our first class activity based on this, the tools, the important tools that is used in Excel. So therefore, I have designed one activity for that. So you are given it like the class assignment 1. So all the required instructions are provided there. And since it is the first activity, I have allowed you 5 days to try that. So today is 14th. So I have allowed it up until 19th. So therefore you have plenty of time to study the videos, video recordings, and do this activity which is considered.
Are we going to on the assignment as well, sir?
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
we are going to allow the assignment, and also the class activities are there. So in the next class, we'll be taking those class activities into discussion. So during the week, so you have 5 days time, you have to upload the class assignment. So the class assignment is there, the class activities are there.
Class assignment submission also can we
Yes.
on now?
Yes, sir. I have created, and
Yeah, okay.
so it is
And the video
activated.
shows, right?
Yes.
Video
Everything is
shows
there.
are
We are going
available
to,
for them now.
yeah,
And all
activate.
the handouts are available for them. It's a lot of material.
Yeah.
So make sure you're going through everything before the next week.
Yeah.
There are 3 videos, 3 handouts. Then there's a databases which you have to use, Excel databases, which is all on. Whereby you have to apply your knowledge with the class activities with those databases and calculate everything. And also you have assignment and that need to be submitted.
Yeah. So just to show them.
Just check, sir. Now go and check your screen, sir.
Yeah,
Share
sure.
your screen and go to the LMS and see whether everything is available for the student.
Yeah, sure. Let me share this screen.
I think all the student can go to the LMS and share it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you have shared already.
yeah,
Yes.
it is there. Yeah. So this is what we are referring. So we are in the week 13 to 19. So we have the discussion. Then the lecture materials are there. The class activity.
2 databases.
The databases that is required for this class
Actually,
activities are there.
gross sale database is not going to use for this lecture because we are not used the pivot table in this series. So that will be uploaded next week. So you can take only the sales database.
Sales database.
Even we can close the gross sale gross series, no? Not necessary.
Yes, sir. We'll do that recording. Yeah. And the class assignment 1 submission is there. Class assignment 1 is there. Yeah.
And the videos are there.
Yeah. And also the videos are there. Right. Depending on so you must first study the video recordings, and thereafter you can try. So you get to try some class activities. So once you are familiar with that, so the class activity would be something similar to the class activity. So therefore, better do some activities and then come back to the assignment, and that has to be attempted. So just to show you the class assignment, now it is available. So it is not difficult one, you can easily manage. So this will, all the instructions are properly given there, right? Just to show you, this is your first class assignment. So the assignment will carry 4 marks as we agreed, and you have to rename the Excel workbook using the CPM, and you have to upload the answer on or before 11:59 p.m. on 19th of July using the given link. So the link is given. So you have 2 exercises to be attempted. So in that, for the second activity, you need the profit Excel database. So in fact, that is also there. We'll made it available. So then you can try this out. Okay, so that is from our end. Are there anything clarified? So if not, we can stop the discussion for the day.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Right, thank you very much. Good night.